Let's talk about unemployment in the country. And when you talk about unemployment, then you have to talk about job searches. Now, this morning, we have this topic for you, handling rejection stress. And moving on amidst a job search. All right. Now, since we do know exactly what that is, let's talk about it. The rate of unemployment in the country has gone up, brought about by the COVID-19 impact, with most people losing their jobs and huge salary cuts. Now, these are therefore seeing a lot of people out in the streets, tarmacking for jobs from one office to the next. Now, what is the likely scenario after the disappointment of not landing a job? Suicidal thoughts, depression, and all that? Today, we'll look at how one can handle rejection, stress, and move on in a job search. And to help us discuss this in detail, we are joined by Dr. Mary Mugo, a business author, consultant, motivational speaker, and a senior lecturer at the Multimedia University of Kenya. Dr. Mary, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Simba. I'm well. How are you doing?
We are fine. Glad to have you around. So let's talk about this, Dr. Mary. Now, this pandemic has really put many people out there looking for jobs with no luck. Now, how many job rejections from where I said this morning is normal? And how many can one apply for in a day?
Simba, when you apply for a job, only one person can get it. In other words, you expect regrets and rejection anytime. I think that is very important for the viewers to understand that a job can only be given to one person. So rejection is normal, and therefore the most important thing is how you handle that. How well do you handle that rejection? And basically, it is important to understand that when you apply for a job, it is not over whether you get a rejection or not. I think the most important thing is to believe in yourself, and the fact that you have a regret for a job you applied for does not mean you will not get another opportunity. So it is important to look at the advert. You can apply for as many jobs as you can so that you can have an opportunity probably to get one of them. So whether you get a regret or not, you must continue applying for the jobs. I'll give you my own story, Simba. The first job I applied for, I got a regret. And by the way, if you get a regret, you're even lucky because most employers don't even come back to you. So if you get a regret, know that you're good. And actually what you should just do is keep on applying. Apply as many jobs as you can so that you can improve your chances of getting the job. So my opinion is rejection is normal in life, for jobs or even in life. And you just have to believe in yourself and know that probably that job was not yours. In fact, Simba, I keep saying the only reason I get regrets is because either I'm overqualified or I'm too expensive.
All right, let's move on to the next question, which I think most people would ask you anytime you have applied for a job, all right, in a specific company, you did not get it, and then you see the same company re-advertise in the same position. Should you do a second application on that same position?
Thank you, Simba. You can actually apply for the same job, but it is advisable you at least take 3 to 6 months before you apply for the same job. Secondly, if you apply for the same job, you need to change your approach. You need to ensure that you apply it in a different way. For the simple reason, there are some companies that use the online way of screening. So if you apply the same way, you're likely to be left out. But actually, yes, you can reapply for the same job, but you change the approach. And also ensure that you have done something that makes you a better person. Something that when you're applying, you can say, because sometimes you may go for the interview and they ask you whether you have applied for the job before. And you don't need to lie. You say, yes, I've applied for this job before. And I have improved myself in this and this way. And that's why I've applied for it. And also, by the way, when you see a job being re-advertised a lot, either one, they are not getting the right person, or two, their job description is not clear. So you can reapply. Maybe, and also by the way, maybe the people who are interviewing me before have been changed. So it is a new team. Simba, you lose nothing by applying for a job twice, except time. So apply for it, but 3 to 6 months period, and then reapply for it.
Yes. Dr. Mary, let me throw you to some statistics that we do know now from the Labor Department, and we do have them with us this morning. I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic has gone away with 1.7 million jobs. We've already spoken to the Federation of Kenya Employees. They're telling us that, well, 600 companies have already sort of sent employees home for redundancies. And then you look at also the Labor Department that is telling you that we have 3.7 million youth who are qualified to be in labor in the country, but then they are idle, meaning that these are the ones who are applying, constantly trying, but we don't have this 3.7 million who are not already in the job market. Now, I'm throwing these statistics to you this morning because then the next question would really need you to address anybody who's listening to you this morning. You say you're among the 3.7 million who've been trying time in, time out. You're not getting the proper response that you need. You're not even getting the regret email. There's this negative feelings that will tend to follow every application that you do, and then you don't get the response that you need. How do you, I would say, how do you sort of correct your mind frame? Because from when you said in this morning, Dr. Mary, whether you like it or not, you are qualified for a job, you're trying to apply, nothing good is coming out, you would have that negative feeling in you. How do you train your mind? What is the approach that you should take so that you don't get into depression and then these negative feelings that sort of follow the fear of rejection?
Thank you, Simba. Before I even come to that, I think I would want to say something here. First of all, you should not be idle. You see, there are so many things that someone can do. I think we need to change our mindset that the only way you can make money is by getting employed. And I think that's what even universities are trying to do, especially introducing entrepreneurship. So before I even say how you can handle those negative feelings, it is important for me to say that it is good for someone to do something. And there are many things you can do with very little money. That's for another day. But now, how do you handle negative feelings? First, you need to understand that it is also normal to feel sad. You don't need to pretend that you're not sad. You know, it's especially men. You know, just if you're sad, you're sad. But now you've got to be reasonable. So the first thing that you have to do is to be reasonable and know that occasionally you can feel sad. Yeah. And then you also need to think of ways to make yourself better. You see, if fear is very bad, so you've got to think of ways that you can make yourself better. You've got to go out there again and again and ensure that you're speaking to people who give you positive energy. In fact, I normally say it is always good to have a cheerleader, a friend who can emit to you enthusiasm, optimism. You know, when you feel sad, it is always good. When you feel that things are not working out, it is important for you to have that. The other key way to ensure that you handle your negative feelings is to ensure that you don't become miserable. You know, when you become miserable, it is not, you need to understand it is not the end of the world. You know, in fact, I keep saying that there are very few people, if any, who have ever been rich because they are employed. So some of us may never be rich because we are employed, like me. You've got to do something else. So you've got to get out of that situation and understand that it is not the end of the world. Start reading, you know, start doing some things online these days. There are even courses online. In other words, keep yourself busy. As you look for the work, keep yourself busy, talk to a friend, exercise, and of course, let go. You see, sometimes, especially if it is a job that you really been looking up for, and a company you really want to work for, you can really be miserable. But you've got to let go and know that that's not the only company in the world. Okay? And in any case, there are many other places. So your opportunity will come. So you've got to think of ways of making yourself better. You've got to let go. You've got to keep improving yourself. and you got to have a friend that you can speak to who will encourage you, a friend who will let you know it is not over, it is not everything. And I think if you do that, then you'll be able to easily handle your negative feelings and be reasonable that only one person can get a job. So it's just at that particular time you're not the one person. But there will come a time when you'll be that one person. Yeah.
Pretty much. Now, another area, Dr. Mary, that I really want us to speak to this morning is that, yes, I mean, if you're constantly applying, therefore, I mean, if you're saying that there isn't a limit to the number of jobs that you can apply as a person, well, you're going to get called here and there for interviews, to send emails here and there. Is there something called interview burnout? And how do you stay fresh for these interviews are going to be called upon to attend?
Yeah, sometimes you can get burnout, but what I would advise is if you want to avoid interview burnout, number one, have a schedule. Have a schedule of regular breaks. You don't have to continuously look for a job. You know, I've heard people saying that these days looking for a job in itself is a work, you know, because you are constantly looking for a job. It is good to schedule some regular breaks. It is good to stop that negative self-talk, you know, because for you to get burnout, you've been looking for work for some time, and you can easily start self-negative talk. So you need to stop self-negative talk. You need to always remember that, you know, you are not really the problem. I keep saying that, just as I said earlier, you need to be positive. You're not the problem. The problem are the fellas who are interviewing you who think you're not qualified. You are qualified. You've gone to school. So you've got to be positive and avoid that self-negative talk. You also need to, what I would call from the good book, count your blessings. You know, the fact that you have applied, the fact that you've been called for an interview, in itself is success. Because there are people who apply, they've never been called for an interview. So count your blessings, yeah? And have those small success stories. Actually, they help a lot, especially when you have interview burnout. Have that success story that, hey, I've applied 10 times, I've been gone for 2 interviews. That's a success story, yeah? And have a cheerleader, as I said earlier, or what people call champions. Have a cheerleader, have a friend who will encourage you, someone who is optimistic, someone who is enthusiastic, so that they can lift you up. But because it is something to do with you, the most important thing is just avoid self-talk. Have those success stories and write them down. Those small things that you achieve in life. The fact that you go to school, you have a CV, you've applied, you've been called, that in itself is good enough. And if you do that, I don't think burnout will really be a problem to you.
Yes, but let's just quickly mention this cheerleader that you're talking about, Dr. Mary. What qualities are you looking for in a cheerleader?
Yeah, thank you, Simba. A cheerleader, one, should be someone that you trust. Number 2 should be someone that you admire. Number 3 should be someone who is optimistic. Simba, can you imagine if you have a friend, and you're looking for work, and then they're like, bwana, kuna my jobs. Why are you bothering? Don't even, these guys have already recruited. I've had people saying that, by the way, that, oh, you know, they are just putting it on paper, they have already recruited. Now, you need to have someone who is optimistic, someone who believes in you, and someone who is going to encourage you, not just someone for the sake of it, and if possible, someone who is a bit higher than you in terms of what you are looking for. Then that should be your champion, somebody that will add value to you, not somebody who subtracts value to you. When you're going for an interview, they are the ones telling you as you go, and to me a 50 EV, you know. Yeah, so you need somebody who really is there to encourage you, someone who is going to give you positive energy as you look for work, and someone who believes that there is work, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Just as we clear this conversation, Dr. Mary, but there's an aspect that you've mentioned that we need to, as youth, move away from the idea that you have to get employed for you to earn a living. But Dr. Mary, talk to that person who's trying to balance the both. I've gone to school, I've got a good degree, I've got good papers, and I think that I can actually contribute, all right, to the corporate world vis-a-vis me doing something different at the same time. Because at the same time, I gotta earn a living as I'm looking for this job. Where's the balance? How do you balance the two?
Siba, you know, even for you and me, maybe I don't know you, but for me, I'm employed, but I do other things.
Me too.
You know, yeah, that makes the two of us.
Yes.
So basically, what I'm saying is, if you've gone to school, let me just give an example. You've done your Bachelor of Commerce. You are even doing Bachelor of Commerce, which has to do with business. As you look for work, there are so many other things that you can do. And by the way, you can even become an employer immediately, for example. You see, if for instance, if you just get as little as 1,000 shillings, and because you want to feel, you know, the problem with learned people like you and me is we want status. So we don't want to do these small things. But you see, you can be a CEO and you've employed 10 people to sell for you, what are they called? Eggs, for example. And you make more money than you can make when you are employed. So what you've got to do, you need to also understand as you look for that employment, the person employing you also started that business. So what we need, Simba, is a mindset change. That actually, I can be the employer rather than employed. You can just start something small, employ people to do it for you if you think it is not status, and move on. So the balance comes in terms of your mind. You've got to get out of that thinking, or let me put it in a more clearer way, you've got to make your hands dirty. You can't just sit and say until the job. And as you've rightly said, there are many companies are retrenching today. So you can't just sit there and say that, oh, I'll wait until I get a job. You've got to do something. And in any case, you can do that something. And if you feel you're made up for the corporate world, then leave the job, leave your company, leave other people working for you, and go work for someone else. But then, did you know that when you work for someone else, you are helping them achieve their dream in life?
Pretty much.
So why not have your own dream?
Makes sense this morning. Dr. Mary, always a pleasure to have you around. And these conversations, you and I could have them all day. I've got a million questions that we can share. But guess what? We will just ask our audience to keep on sending those messages in 20146 and at Metropole TVKE, because I know some of those questions are really pertinent, especially when it comes to the youth. Thank you very much for taking time off your busy schedule to speak to us this morning, because I know, yes, schools are back on and you gotta go back to class, isn't it?
Thank you, Simba. We actually opened on 5th.
Okay.
For the finalists, they are starting their exams tomorrow.
Yes.
The other group is opening on 26. Us guys, we ride on technology, so we are techno-savvy.
Pretty much. Thank you very much for taking your time. And that's exactly what it is that we have prepared for you. On the first part of the show, you want to speak to Dr. Mary Mugo directly. You do know what to do. 20146. Those messages will be going directly to her. We take a short break. Once we come back, let's have a look at how you can turn that idea that you have at the workplace as a manager into a movement. We're talking about change management shortly.